tabweratu ndi inquiry imenetu ikuchitika ku nyumba ya malamulo pajatu kumeneku kafukufuku ali mkati amene akufufuza kuti chinachititsa ndi chani kuti ngozi ichitike pamenetu Donia ndege ya mtundu wa Donia ya asilikali imene inapha Chilima komanso anthu ena 8 kuja kuchikangawa. Ndetu apa kafukufuku amene Lerotu komiti ya ad hoc imenetu amuthalika anakhazikitsa inalitu kuphaphatitsa mafunso akutitu base commander amene ndi Colonel amene uchokera ku Zomba Air Base. Ndingakhale pano sali mdziko muno ati aina akukamba kuti ali kunja ku China kumene akupitiriza maphunziro ake ankhani za ulutsa ndege. Ndetu amayankha mafunso koma zimamafunsa anthu nzodabwitsa ndipo amenewa auta Nyamilandu mafunso awo amene akumakhala odabwitsa kodi kwenikweni izi zingasinthe makamaka ripoti limene BF idatulutsa. Tatentoneleni limodzi interview imene itoneleni limodzi inquiry imene itapangani like tapangani subscribe.
I recognize Mwanza Central.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning, Colonel. I have a few questions.
Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning. Good morning. Colonel, I have a few questions. The first one, I think I need the clarification. In the in your statement that you submitted to the Board of Inquiry from the military, you indicated that the plane departed at the 15 hours. But I see here you are saying the plane on 9th June departed at 16 hours from Chileka. I think just to check which one is correct between the two.
When we received the request for this aircraft, the family gave an indication that the aircraft would depart at 1500 hours. But the aircraft delayed in Chileka. It did not depart at 1500 hours. So the 1500 hours is there as an indication which was planned for this flight. But it stayed on till 1600 hours.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to check that. And in your report here, paragraph point number 2, the flight on 9th June 2024. It reads, the aircraft took off from Chileka at 16 hours and landed in Mzuzu just before the last light at 17:32 hours. However, the crew reported very bad weather. And I'm reading your statement that you submitted in the military inquiry. I checked if that statement of very bad weather is appearing. Any reason why on this statement that you submitted today, you have indicated the crew reported very bad weather, and the same is missing in your report that you submitted on 25th June 2024. Thank you.
The change is due to the terms of reference of the two boards. I received summons that we had to indicate our operational effectiveness and readiness. So I had to include the situation which was reported to us when the aircraft had landed in Nzuzu. So that's the only reason why the report is a little bit different from the one which was submitted to the MGF due to the terms of reference of the two committees. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So you confirm, Colonel, that the two submissions are different in that respect?
Yes, because of the terms of reference, because we received summons, and in my summons, they specifically indicated what they are expecting of me to submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My last question, Colonel, you are under oath. You are under oath. Did you have a conversation with the crew at any point, airborne?
The crew.
Any of the crew members?
They arrived, Yes, I'll answer you. When they arrived in Zuzu, they reported. They always report, especially the engineer will always report to tell us the condition of the aircraft. So there was a report which was channeled through the operations officer. But in the morning of 10th June 2024, I had a conversation with Major Aidini in Lilongwe. We had a small, short conversation. Everything is fine. We are leaving at 9 o'clock. That was the conversation we had. Thank you.
I'll repeat the question, Colonel. I'm asking, did you have a conversation with any of the crew members, airborne, not on the ground, but airborne?
Airborne.
Yes.
No. We do. The crew will only have conversation when they are airborne with air traffic controllers, not someone who is in administration who is on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colonel. That's all from me, Chair.
Thank you. I recognize Blantyre Malabada Ndirande.
Thank you very much, Chair. Ismail Nkumba, the MP for Blantyre City, Ndirande Malabada Nyambado constituency. I have 2 or 3 questions. Colonel, good morning. My first question.
Good morning, sir.
My first question. Please describe your responsibilities as the base commander of Zomba Air Base, especially on the 10th June 2024. The second question. What role did Zomba Air Base play in preparing the MAF Tango 03 for the mission involving the Vice President? Number 3, I wanted to find out when you had communication from the crew members when they had returned from Zuzu, did you have an opportunity to relay the information of bad weather to the office of the Vice President? Thank you.
My responsibilities as the base commander at Zomba Air Base on the 10th of June 2024. I will go back a little bit. On Friday, on the 8th of June 2024, I was not feeling very well. This was a Friday. So I went to the hospital in Zomba and they diagnosed me with an infection. It was a chest infection. So this was a Saturday, the day I went to the hospital, on the 8th. On the 9th, I also went back to the hospital with the same problem. And on the 10th in the morning, because I was not feeling very well, I called my Air Force commander that, sir, I'm not feeling very well today. I'm going to work from home. So he accepted because the problem had started 3 days earlier. But at 11 o'clock on this day, I received a phone call from the operations officer who said, Donia 228 has not arrived to its destination. So I dressed into my uniform and I went to work. When I arrived at work, the officers and the Deputy Air Force Commander had already started consultation meetings between ourselves to ascertain what has gone wrong. I joined in these meetings, and then I was given the task that we should inform the soldiers, but also at the same time, we should go and give information to the families that we have aircraft which was carrying the president of the vice president of the country to Zuzu, and it has not reached its destination. So we informed the soldiers. I personally went to see the families to inform them. And then we had to make a follow-up meeting to ascertain as to what should be our next action. We had a serious challenge to find the suitable assets to go and carry out the search and rescue operation in Nzuzu. The distance was a problem. Having said this, there was another aircraft, MA600, which was flying from DRC to Blantyre. And by around 12 o'clock, a decision was made that it would be easier to travel by air than to travel by road because it would be faster. So we had to wait for this aircraft which was coming in from DRC. Then in the afternoon of this day, after consultations, a team was established to go and assist in the search and rescue of our aircraft in Nzuzu. This team traveled through Chileka International Airport. So this is how I'll answer your first question. As per the role of the Air Force, which it played, I just want to come back to you on this one. This is the role of the Air Force which it played on this particular day in providing an aircraft to our Vice President, right?
That's correct.
The Air Force has been receiving a lot of requests for flights to provide platforms to carry out different missions for different departments, different organizations, but also our VVIPs. The role of the Air Force was to provide such equipment when it was requested on the 10th of June 2024. However, we had only one aircraft. And this aircraft was already in Nzuzu. So there was coordination between Zomba Air Base and the crew to ascertain the serviceability of the aircraft. During this flight, this particular flight, because the aircraft was out of station, the onus was on the flight engineer who was on the aircraft to do the pre-flight and give authorization for the aircraft to fly, that it was in a serviceable condition. This was only his part for the serviceability of the aircraft. Having satisfied ourselves that this aircraft was operationally ready, we gave a go-ahead that it can go to Lilongwe and carry out this operation. I think I should stop there because this was the role we played as Zomba Air Base to provide a serviceable aircraft, and it was ascertained that the aircraft was serviceable for this particular operation. Thank you.
There's one more question that was not answered.
Repeat it again, sir.
My third question was concerning if you had relayed information concerning the bad weather you had received from your crew, that they had experienced bad weather on the journey from from Lilongwe to Zuzu. Did you relay that information to the office of the Vice President?
The information that there was bad weather in Zuzu was not directly related to the office of the Vice President, but it was relayed within our institutions that the aircraft, when it was landing in Zuzu, had a serious encounter with bad weather. Thank you, sir.
Chair Unzonzi Mvai, and then we go to Dowa Kasangazi.
Thank you so much, Chair, for granting us the people of Ncheuzo-Zimvai constituency to ask a question to Colonel Alex Mwashande. Colonel Mwashande, the committee understand that every Friday, base commanders submit reports about state of aircrafts to the Air Force Commander. My question is, what kind of report did you submit to the Air Force Commander on the 8th June 2024, a Friday before this tragic accident? Can you share it with this committee? The second question is, can you provide this committee with the technical logbook of the Donia 228? Thank you so much.
Can you respond? Were you able to hear?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Through the Honorable Chair, every Friday indeed, the base submits serviceability logs, serviceability status of our aircraft. On Friday, 8th, I might not have the serviceability report here with me on the ground, but what I can say is, if there is any fault on the aircraft, the technical department, which issues this serviceability report, indicate what problem is on that particular aircraft. In this case, the serviceability report of that Friday on the 8th was a report that was indicating that the aircraft was serviceable, but prior to 4 days or so, the aircraft had a problem and the problem was sorted out. So it could have been that the serviceability report of 8th could not have indicated this problem because it was solved. And the technical department provided a serviceable status of this particular aircraft. Thank you. This is the first question.
Okay.
For your second question, can you repeat it, please?
Okay. The second question was, can you provide this committee with the technical logbook of the Donia 228? Thank you.
The logbook of Donia 228 Tango 03 was destroyed during the accident at Chingangawa. Thank you.
So I'm mindful that we have received.
But I can add, at the technical department in Zomba, all the leaves of the logbook are removed and kept in a file before the next flight. So all the information pertaining to this aircraft, all the documentation is in Zomba. But only after the aircraft had left Zomba for Chileka, proceeding to Nzuzu on the 9th of June. This is the information which was destroyed together with the aircraft at Chikangawa. Thank you. Go ahead, Honorable.
Yeah, Ken, I'm mindful
Yes,
that
Honorable Chair, go ahead.
I'm mindful that we have received an alert of 10 minutes ago. That was a while ago. So 10 minutes to go before the Zoom line cuts off. We're probably running out of time.
Okay.
So just to prepare you that if the line is cut, we will require you to log in again.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Okay.
So, do Wakasangazi.
Thank you very much, Chair. Keno, I am George Jefferson Katspatike, Member of Parliament for the Wakasangazi constituency. And I have a few questions for you. Number one, when the plane was leaving Zomba on 9th June 2024, were you aware that it had a 40 emergency locator transmitter with a battery that had expired according to the BFU report in the year 2004?
Yes, Honorable.
Number two, what was the significance of the emergency locator transmitter on the plane? Number three. Number three.
Okay.
When did the Malawi Air Force become aware
Yes, sir.
that the battery in the emergency locator transmitter had expired? Because the nation became aware that the plane had an expired battery after the accident through the BFU report. But when did the Malawi Air Force become aware that this plane had a 40 emergency locator transmitter?
Emergency locator transmitter on Tango 03 had expired. But in actual sense, this type of emergency locator transmitter had become obsolete, meaning the company had stopped making emergency locator transmitters of this type. So when it had expired in 2004, for us to acquire another one, we contacted the manufacturer and we were told that they have stopped manufacturing this type of EL. But instead, the manufacturer had come up with a service bulletin. And in this service bulletin, it was a complete design of the emergency locator transmitter, flight data recorder, and the cockpit voice recorder. It was in one package. That was the new design. So if we had to get an ELT, we also had to get the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. A quotation was forwarded, but the amount of money maybe could have been on the higher side that we did not get proper funding for this one. To answer your second question about the significance.
Can proceed.
As per the significance of the locator transmitter. The locator transmitter is a very important equipment on the aircraft. It will tell you when the aircraft has crashed. It works on G forces. As the aircraft hits the ground during a crash, it activates. Then it will send a signal. And every aircraft which passes by, or who tune into this signal, will pick up where the aircraft has crashed. But to its significance to the safety of the aircraft in terms of the airworthiness of the aircraft as it is flying in the air, it is not that significant. Because for the aircraft to be airworthy, for someone to say this aircraft is serviceable, it can go and fly. Every manufacturer, every designer of the aircraft gives a minimum equipment list saying in my aircraft, for it to be serviceable, it must have this. As a servicing engineer, or as a certifying engineer, or as an inspector, when the aircraft has got a fault on any of these items which have been given by the manufacturer, that this is the minimum equipment list, that aircraft will not fly. It will not go into the air, because its airworthiness is being compromised. ELT is an important equipment, very important equipment on the aircraft, but it's not part of the safety of the aircraft. That's the difference. Both very important, but for the aircraft to fly, it needs this minimum equipment list. Thank you. As per when was MAF aware? MAF was aware way back, I think in 2006, somewhere there, that the ELT is obsolete. The manufacturer is requesting that if we are to replace this ELT, we have to buy, it's the whole package. It was a new design, which included these other items which I mentioned before. Thank you.
Is that a follow-up question or
Just a follow-up. So you have indicated that the administration was aware in the year 2006 that the battery had expired.
Yes.
But at that point in time,
Yes.
they were unable to, or they neglected to replace the ELT.
I wouldn't say neglect as such, because there was a challenge of the financial past. This package, it came with its own quotations. So for the funding to be submitted to the Air Force, maybe it could have been a problem. So that could have been the challenge. Thank you, sir.
So Colonel, just to get more clarity, you have said that the ELT became obsolete over time.
Yes.
Because for you to purchase the ELT, you needed to purchase as a full package with a black box, which contains the voice,
Yes.
the data recorder, and the flight cockpit recorder.
Yeah.
Now, can you clarify to us that under the Chicago Convention, was it going to be possible for you to purchase the ELT and the black box? What was the impediment? Was it the Chicago Convention rules or the funding? Because we have meant to be told that under the Chicago Convention, military aircrafts are not supposed to be fitted with this black box. So can you just clarify? Was it a funding issue, a forex issue, or the Chicago Convention?
In this case, when this aircraft was being bought in Germany, they make it optional. Either you buy these other items you've mentioned, the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder. It's optional. But also at the same time, our aircraft being military aircraft, it was not compulsory on us to buy these. With time, in Europe, they made it mandatory for an aircraft to fly in Europe to have these aircrafts, which were optional at that time, but now they were no longer optional. They were mandatory. Now, when our ELT expired, becoming obsolete, and we needed to replace it, when we contacted the manufacturer, he brought now saying, no, we don't sell this ELT on its own. We don't just sell the ELT. We sell the ELT, flight cockpit, voice recorder, flight data recorder, and and other avionics items as one complete package as a service bulletin. When this was invoiced to us, this is now where it became a financial problem. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Chair. Coroner, I have a supplementary question on the ELT, but
Yes.
I'll ask in
sir.
Chichewa because I saw the comments on the Facebook page. I think some people are not really conversant with what an ELT is. Ndieno ndimafuna kuti ndifunse kuti ELT imene ikutchulidwa kwambiri chifukwa yatchulidwa kwambiri yakambidwa kwambiri ELT kodi imagwira ntchito yanji pa ndege ikugwirizana ndi kugwa kwa ndege kuti ndege ikhoza kugwa chifukwa chokuti ili ndi ELT yopanda batire zikomo.
Ndiyankhe chonchi. Muchichewa ELT, okay, muchizungu timati emergency locator transmitter. Muchichewa ningati kalondolondo chinthu chimene chimapereka signal kukuwuzani kuti ine ndagwera pano. Nde chinthuchi chimakhala mu ndege muja. Nthawi zonse ndege ikuuka chimakhala mmene muja. Nthawi yopanga service chimapangidwa service. Andi kupanga service kwake chimayasidwa. Chikayasidwa kuzomba kuchireka akhoza kuziwa kuti signal imene ndi ya ELT. Ndege imene yagwa kapena iya. Andi sichimayesedwa wamba chifukwa chimapereka signal yokuti ine ndagwa ndagwera pano. So ntchito yake chimayamba kugwira ntchito pokhapokha ndege yagwa. Pokhapokha ndege yagwa. Nthawi imene kapena ningapereke example ya airbag mgalimoto. Mwina kuti airbag imaphulika pamene yapanga impact galimoto. ELT imayamba kugwira ntchito pokhapokha ndege yagwa. Force yokugwa ndege ija imapangisa kuti ELT is panga activate iyambe kugwira ntchito. Ndi magwiridwe ake ntchito ya ELT imatumiza signal. Ndi wina aliyese amene amapanga pick signal ya ELT amene amapanga za ndege wamutawa kapena ndege ina iliyonse imene ikudusa kumalo amene signal yafikira amadziwa kuti kwakuti kwagwa ndege. This signal is identified as only an ELT signal. Signal imaziwidwa kuti signal ya ELT basi. Choncho ELT imagwira ntchito pokhapokha ngati ndege yagwa. Chimene ikanatithandiza ELT ikanati inalipo kunali kutithandiza kuti tipeze nsanga mapianza athu. Tipeze nsanga pamene panagwera ndege yathu. Ndi chimene ikanatithandiza ELT ikanati sinapange expire. Ndikuona ngati kapena pamenepo ndalongosola. Zikomo kwambiri.
Ndathokoza kwambiri kuti mwalongosola bwino kwambiri. Chifukwa panali mafunso ambiri pa Facebook ankhani ya ELT. Ndiye naona kuti tikambe mchichewa chonchi kuti imveke bwino. And mmene mwalongosoleramo mwalongosola bwino kwambiri kuti no aliyense wamva kuti kodi ELT ndi chani. Zikomo kwambiri.
Zikomo.
Kasungu North, is it supplementary?
Thank you, Chair. No, new questions. Yes, Chair.
Okay, so I'll allow you. Ordinarily, I would have said let's continue with the others. I'll allow you, and then prepare. You're also on a supplementary. Mulanje North supplementary. So we have. Can we get the supplementaries out of the way so we clear ELT? We shouldn't go back to ELT. Let's get the supplement out of the way. So Mulanje North. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Can you The ELT, almost all the previous presenters have maintained that it has nothing to do with the safety or the airworthiness of a plane. However, in an event that a plane crashes and there are survivors and there is no ELT, chances that their safety may be compromised. I mean, they may lose their lives because they haven't been found in good time. So wouldn't we say, even if it's not part of the air worthiness of an aircraft, but still it has something to do with the safety of the passengers? Thank you.
On that one, I will agree with you. That is why the designer put it in the aircraft. So that when the aircraft crashes, it should be found as soon as possible with the help of the ELT. On that one, I'll agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Supplementary? That's my.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted to learn, Colonel, that the ELT, is it amongst the essential package such that the manufacturer puts it when the plane is coming, whether it's military or non-military, and such that is it an option or is it an optional? Because you have talked about the black box, which you said in military terms it's optional, and the manufacturer doesn't necessarily put it there. So for the sake of the ELT, is it also amongst the optional or non-optional? I just wanted you to clarify on that one. Thank you.
The ELT is not optional. I will not put it as optional. It's not optional. It's something you must have on the aircraft, but it is not an airworthiness item on the aircraft. That is where the difference is. Thank you.
So, Chair, thank you.
Yes.
So, Colonel, we could say in easy terms, ndige munchichewa, ELT si vuto kuti ndege singauluke chifukwa choti ilibe ELT, koma opanga ndege ananena kuti ELT pamene tinaona kuti ndege tamaliza kupanga ELT ikuyenera ikhalepo, kaya ndegeyo ndi amilitale ngakhale isakhala kuti ndi asilikali. Tinene choncho, Colonel.
Ndipange separate pakati pa military ndi not military. Let's understand nkhani za military aircraft. You wouldn't love to have your aircraft crashing in the enemy territory and it is telling the enemy, I've crashed here. So there are some other things in the military we don't have to have. But as an aircraft designer, they put the ELT in the aircraft because some aircraft have got dual use. They have got use by the military, but they have got also use by the civilian. But for the military, an IoT might cause a problem when your aircraft crashes in the enemy territory. Thank you, sir.
Sombatondwe.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good afternoon once again, Colonel Mwachande.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my name is Dumisal Nindani, representing the people of Zomba Tondwe, and a member of this committee. Colonel, maybe if I would say that there are always upgrades in aircraft maintenance,
which are issued through service bulletins, as you rightly said earlier on, and that we may not be fair to continue to refer to outdated service bulletins. Like in this case, the Chicago Convention happened long ago, and yet along the way, the ELT as an equipment later became mandatory. Would I be wrong to say that?
No, you'd not be wrong to say that.
Thank you so much. Chair, I'm trying to say that the element of saying it was designed like this was an odd theory, because as time was going, the ELT became mandatory. It's just that probably we were, maybe as a country, we didn't move with the times, but it's a mandatory aspect. And I may wish to agree with the.
I just want to add.
Yes.
I just want to add, as you are putting it, as a country, every country, every group of nations, every region, they've got their own regulations. So they apply to each one of those. And in our region, in our country, the ELT status, especially the flight attendant code and the other equipment that they are put together in the service plate, follows into this. Thank you. You can continue, sir.
Thank you, Colonel. When you say in our country, are you referring to the civil or military rules?
Military ones.
Thank you. I wanted that to be clear. So, Chair, I'm trying to suggest that this talk of saying the aircraft, military aircraft are designed like this is no longer true, and I agree with him. Two, I wanted, if possible, maybe to close, okay, maybe just to comment like exactly what he said, to say that in the case of this inquiry, if the ELT was installed on this aircraft, it would not take more than 30 minutes to locate, not even 30 minutes, because it starts transmitting light on spot. It was not going to take 30 minutes for us to know that the former Vice President, Mmaso, rest in peace, and team crashed in Chikangawa. Would you agree with me? That would not take 24 hours or so.
I would not agree very much with you on the time limit, but I will agree with you. The ELT could have assisted us quite a lot.
No, I was referring to locating the where the aircraft crashes. Time may depend on.
It could have assisted us a lot to locate them.
Thank you so much. So that's a significance, Chair. And I wanted, Chair, just to list this case, if you could save us with the service bulletins for reference by this committee. But I think, personally, Chair, we've discussed a lot about this issue. But I wanted to put it on record that it's not like it's not mandatory, because rules changed along the way. 2006, it's a long time ago. And I mean, actually, the Chicago Convention that's being referred to happened decades ago. Thank you. I don't know if you may allow me to continue with other questions, because you said we should comment on the ELT first. Thank you.
Supplementary, but can we close? I hope this is the last one on ELT.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. Keno Mwajande. Mbuyo monsemu ndamva bwino nkhani ya ELT until the last ujeni nde zikukhala ngati zikundisongonizaso maganizo kuti kodi ndimvetsetse. So mukhoza kugwirizana nane nditanena kuti ELT imafunikira kwambiri mu donium kuti ikhalemo, ndipo inuyo ku military mudapempha kuti ELT muyikemo mu ndegemu, koma chifukwa cha ndalama kuti boma silidakupatseni ndalama ELT sidayikidwe mu ndege mmene. Mukhoza kugwirizana nane ntanena choncho?
Exactly. That's why I was saying we went to the manufacturer to give us a quotation to replace this equipment.
Ndieno fusolotsa
the quotation which came.
funso lotsatira lonena kuti mwatilongosolera bwinobwino ndipo ndimamva kunena kuti ELT ya masiku ano imabweranso ndi black box limodzi kusonyeza kunena kuti boma linakakugulirani 2006 linakakugulirani ELT yophatikiza ndi black box bwezi mu doni amene muli ELT ndi black box limodzi zonse ndi choncho
and ndizimene timafuna
zikomo kwambiri chair ndimafuna ndimvetsetse pamenepo.
So pakufunika clarification ya kudi zimene boma linakana kugula mu ndege o ku military my equipment ina ELT basi sinali responsibility ya boma kapena ya inu ya military kugula my equipment ena ndi ena chimavuta kuti ELT isagulidwe chinali boma basi ili makobiri semapanga approve mesa military imekhandi budget yake inu zimakukanikani pa ndrama zimene muna inazo kugula ELT zaka 10 15 zonsezi pamene zinthu zina magula mkholopolo magula mifuti majombo uniform mukunduza zoona kuti vuto naye anduna a finance pamene budget holder inali inuyo makanika kugula ELT fuka cha makobiri pa ndrama zimene tikumvazi timafuna Mungu titsimikizira pamene popo.
Aviation is expensive, it is technology and it is science, so it is expensive. If you have to run aircraft, you must have proper funding. Now, as I indicated in my presentation, in my conclusion, I said that the national demand for aircraft in Malawi has been increasing over the years. Imagine on the 9th and the 10th. On the 9th, there was a flight to go to Zuzu. The 10th, there was also a demand for an aircraft to go to Zuzu. There was also demand for an aircraft to go to DRC. That was only in a window of 2 days. This shows us that there is a national demand of air assets. Having said this, I then say, with this demand, with the investment the country has been putting into aviation through the Zomba Air Base and through the Malawi Air, is not in line. The investment is very minimal. That is why it hasn't been easy for us to acquire an ELT. I'll give you another example. In 2017, one of our aircraft, a Donia, a very serviceable Donia, was found out that its engines had expired. The aircraft engines, after running for 1,800 hours, our Donia aircraft, when the engines run for 1,800 hours, whether the aircraft is serviceable or not, but because of quality control, with strict adherence to standards on aircraft maintenance, this aircraft was grounded. But I think in this case, it was the sequence of operations. The ELT was not serviceable. So if we put it at arm, it means that's not being honest with what is on the aircraft. But in this case, it's a choice of whoever is making the checks, whether to put it at arm or off. But if it was chosen that it must stay at off, the main reason why is because it was off. But it must always be on. It is always on arm.
Zikomo kwambiri kusonyeza kuti inayikidwa pa off muna chama 2006 umo mene muna nene kuti inakhala obsolete.
Yes.
Zikomo kwambiri. Ndiye ndipite no ku black box. Zulu nafusa fuso lomweri kwa jeno amene anabwera chakumazulo ndi munapota anthu tinatopa tayiwala zimene tinafunsa zimene tinayankhidwa. Ndinafunsa kuti kodi ndege iyi tikukambira naye imene inagulidwa ngati VVIP plane ndichoncho kapena kuti itabwera kuno tinayichita reconfigure kuisuntha kuti isanduke no ya VVIP. Tinagula VVIP kapena tinayichita reconfigure. Zikomo kwambiri keno. Ndimankula chichewa kuti anzathu akuzomba inu ndine anthu atimve kweya wingi kucha. Komano ndifika no ku chizungu. Ndimafuna ndichite tachi ma areas ya crew komanso aircraft. Nde kumbali ya crew, what can you say about the competence and experience of the captain in command, late Sambalopa, and the co-pilot, late Flora Selemani? I've read somewhere what you said, but I just wanted you also to repeat what you said or what you think of the competence and the experience of these two officers.
Okay, I'm asking that because... Yeah, I agree, and that's what I expected. But I was asking that because in the BFU report, it's reported that the crew, some of the paperwork or qualifications of the crew could not be found because they had been destroyed during the accident, and we were asking ourselves, what about the copies at the office? So you have answered it. Chair, you may have to persuade further because they keep records. Secondly, as I wind up, in the interest of time, Colonel, you mentioned that while you were in Zuzu, you got a report through Ops Department detailing. Okay, I wanted you to share with us as a committee contents of that report. I submit.
There's a Mayan. That should be the last one.
Thank you very much.
When the aircraft lands, it has arrived at its destination. The crew gives the status of the aircraft. They report on the status of the aircraft. How was the flight, the status of the aircraft, and impending missions if there will be any.
Thank you.
So this is the content of the report.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chair, just to confirm with him is if the names that have been given here as a team, a search team, the names that are here, are they the only names, or you had beefed up the team with other soldiers from somewhere? Are these the only names that came from Zomba?
There were soldiers from Moyare barracks that were doing a search and rescue in Zuzu.
My interest is on
the main chunk. This was the main body of doing the search and rescue. This is the body that helped to find the aircraft.
What I want to
the team that was dispatched from Zomba.
Thank you so much, Colonel. I wanted you to. I'm sorry, I'm like rushing my questioning because of I'm worried about the time. But I wanted you just to confirm that these names are the only names that came from Zomba, because you've given us a list of names. The other ones were from Zuzu. These are the ones from Zomba. Would you confirm?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Saveo Kafafa, Member of Parliament for the Zamayani constituency, and thank you, Colonel, for your presentation. My question is basing on the chain of command in the military. Where do you normally get your instruction from? I want to know who commands you, and in terms of the 10th of June or the 9th of June, where did you send your command to? So I want to know where you got the message from and where you send the message from in terms of the chain of command. That's the first part of my question. Thank you, Colonel.
The chain of command from base commander, it is to the Air Force commander. Malawi Air Force commander, then to the MTF commander. With regard to aircraft, which was dispatched on the 10th, that was the normal chain of command. Thank you.
So when you received the message or the command from the Air Force commander, you sent it to who? From you, where it went to who for the flight to occur?
For the flight to occur, the crew were informed that there is a flight to go to Lilongwe, pick the vice president to Zuzu.
The crew.
The command of this type of operation, because the aircraft was out of station, there was also another parallel line of command that they were also talking with the crew. The crew had to be told because they were out of station. But the base also on its part carried also its instructions with regard to the serviceability of the aircraft and its operational readiness. Thank you.
I want you to be very clear. were the pilots using your commands, or they were also receiving some commands from somewhere?
In aircraft, it's centralized command, and we call it centralized command, but decentralized execution. So the command is centralized. So this was the centralized command that was also in direct contact with the crew of the aircraft because of the time of the flight, one, but also at the same time the aircraft was out of station. But also at the same time the base was also having a channel of communication with the crew to tell them with regard to what is supposed to be done on the following day. Thank you.
Let me reverse my question. If they had a problem, whom were they supposed to report to? Because it's like they are receiving commands from two different sources.
The commands go through the chain of command of the base commander. So if there was a problem with the aircraft, it was the chain of the base commander which was supposed to be informed. This is the normal chain of command. This is the way the chain of command of this particular aircraft was done. However, because it was out of station, and with the limitation in terms of time, there could have been a direct command between the crew and the chain of command within our system. This is where the separation is, because the aircraft was out of station. But the normal chain of command, even if there was a problem on the aircraft, it was going to come through the operations office of Zomba Air Base.
So in other words, you want to submit to this committee that there might be some instructions either direct from the Air Force commander and maybe even from the commander of the Defense Force. Is that what you wanted us to assume?
As I've already said, it is centralized command. Aircraft can be commanded by the highest office of the forces. That's the centralized command. Because there are some details that they might have to be told. Not through the normal chain of command, this one which we are talking about, from the base commander to the Air Force commander to the MTF commander.
Should we call it the way? Should we call it that kind of the pilots getting instruction from multiple sources or levels? Should we call it normal or abnormal?
Zomba, the reason why it is centralized command, it is not to get that confusion, to have instructions from multiple sources. That is why it is centralized. Zomba Air Base is at the execution. It is an execution level. It is at an execution level. We execute the orders from above. So we are given orders. Our orders are given to our pilots. But in this case, this aircraft was out of station. So apart from the orders coming from the Zomba Air Base, it was also orders that were also given as centralized command of the highest office of the Defense Force.
So as a commander of the base, you were not in total control. Is that so?
No, we were in control. The base was in control. But you are talking of particular orders. These are particular orders, not orders to do with this aircraft. Its operations. Those orders were through the base. They were through this channel from base commander to the Air Force commander to the MTF commander, and back. But I don't want us to do away with this other side of command, which is centralized command on military assets. It is there.
Okay, Chair, my last part of why I was asking that background, I wanted to learn from you as the base commander. if a pilot meets, let's say, bad weather, or he has something, and I learned that whenever you are giving a command, it's called a mission. So because this is a mission and they have to complete the mission. So if they want to, what you normally call in military terms, to abort the mission, can they make that decision on their own? Because they have been commanded as to be on a mission, and they have met something that they want to abort the mission. Who is going to give them the command that now you can abort the mission? In other words, in applying to the June 10th situation, if they had met what we could call very bad weather and they wanted to abort the mission, how will that aborting be worked like? Will they do that decision on their own, or you were supposed to say, please come back as a commander? Thank you, Chair.
That decision is solely on the crew of the aircraft. That is why it is decentralized execution. It is done in such a way that those doing the operation, those carrying out the mission, must have the freedom to make decisions depending on the situation which is on the ground. So that decision was solely on those who were executing the mission. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Colonel.
The instructors, they go for simulator training in Germany. And when they come back, they carry out recurrency of the other pilots on the ground in Zomba. For one to do recurrency, it means they must have a valid medical certificate. So the fact that they've been able to do recurrency, it means they have been able to do their medicals regularly, as it's supposed to be. That is why they are able to do recurrency in Zomba. The instructors who check these pilots on this recurrency, they go to Germany to do their simulator training. But sometimes you need simulator training tomorrow, for example, as per the schedule and as per the status of the training institutions of the base. We might not get the required financial assistance as per that requirement. It can come later, and as a result, you end up having a backlog. But that one is sorted out because the instructors are the ones that train the others. But this simulated training, it could have been better that it is given now and then as per the time it is needed. Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
They were never put for anybody else. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Colonel. You know, the inquiry is also meant to bring clarity and bring closure to this case. So there are so many theories and rumors circulating. So we will ask you questions that are not necessarily our opinion, but we're trying to answer certain questions from certain quarters. So we take your explanation, and we can proceed on the basis of what you have responded.
Thank you.
Colonel, it's been a pleasure having you, particularly being the first one doing it virtual. It demonstrates that if there are any other witnesses that are not able to come in person, we can do this session virtually. And so we appreciate your cooperation. You may have final comments to make, and then you can respond to the question that was made by Kasungu North.